Hey guys, Joshua Gandamu here, and forgive my video if it's zooming in and out, not zooming in and out, but going in and out of focus. I have it on super macro because there's things really close up I want to show you, which means that it's going to make me blurry because I'm not super close up to the camera. Unless I am now. Okay, now that works. No, but today, as part of learning how to make custom Gundam MSIA action figures, we're going to learn how to dremel, or all the things that you can do with it. Now this is about a $20 or $30 item. However, if you have a power drill, that could work too. Basically what makes the Dremel different is the tips. Usually a power drill used for drilling and things like that, which is useful in making custom MSIA in many of the same ways. For instance, if you have to drill a larger neck ball joint, I had to do that on my GM ground type. I had to make this hole bigger so that a replacement neck peg could fit in there. So I officially covered power drills. Ta-da! Now, back to the Dremel, which could do the same thing. I recommend a variable speed Dremel, but mine is not variable speed, so you can get by without that feature. And Dremels generally have like a cutting blade on them, like a little mini power saw, and that's very useful when you're cutting parts that otherwise do not cut. You know, like this just isn't going to cut it. And that's kind of a rarity, but it can happen. And I can't think of any projects exactly that I've used the Dremel big blade on. Oh, my, Sarah, hand me the prototype dome on that base over there. Thanks. That's what my gorgeous wife is for. To get me stuff and make me sandwiches. Right? Maybe not. Okay. So, I used the Dremel to cut off this guy's chest, just because there was a lot of plastic to try and cut at with one of these. So I just put a round blade on it. You know, it would look like this, only a lot smaller. And just... or, you know. So, yeah, the Dremel has a lot of uses like that. So I made the chest flat so I could put this replacement chest on to make it a prototype dome. And one of my customs in the works. But other features that it has is you can buy packs like these. My wife bought me this. I think it was maybe $5 or $1. I'm not sure. They're pretty cheap though. And you can see there's various different sizes, different types. These are very useful. For instance, this ball joint right here. My Zaku 2 G-type. Now, many of you who have a Zaku 1 or Zaku 2 version 1 know that the Zaku 2's neck is just a simple peg. Mine is not. I took a Zaku 1 neck peg, cut out some space in the Zaku 2, and super glued that in. I took this guy, and usually what I'll use is an awl, something like this, has a sharp point, but not like a knife, it's just straight. And I'll get it started, like I'll poke a hole in, and then that gives my Dremel a place to start. And so then I probably use something like this, and drilled in there, and then followed through with the one that I just showed you, this guy right here. And so my Zaku 2 now has a round ball joint in his head, which means that it works like any other normal MSIA action figure. Super improved! Yes! It's just one of the many uses. Another issue that I had one time was my GM variations. Most of the advanced GMs use a body type like the Alex Gundam. So of course, I had to use the Alex Gundam's lower torso. Well, this was not compatible with the Gundam 1.5 legs. So you can see Gundam 1.5 arms. Obviously I want to use Gundam 1.5 legs, besides the fact that you can't really turn Alex legs into GM legs. It just doesn't work that way. But the thing didn't stay on terribly well, just because of the size of this ball joint. And so what I did was I did joint replacement, which was time consuming. I mean, it's not that hard, but it took time. I did joint replacement, put the upper leg of the Alex Gundam attached to the lower leg of the Gundam 1.5. And that worked really well, but I didn't really like the look of it. I mean, yeah, it's going to be painted, but I just didn't like the look of it. And it made him taller. I don't know if you can see the difference there, but it made him taller. And he's already tall enough. So I remembered that when making a different variant, I had the same problem. And I can't remember if it was the GM 1.5 or something else. Maybe it was an earlier version of the GM D-type. But my wife took a power drill and one of these. So like I said, you could use power drill too. And she went around inside there and made the ball joint bigger. Now you can do the opposite effect and make the ball joint, you know, like if your ball joint's loose, just to cover this, you can put super glue in there, put it on the ball joint, move it around, take it off, let it dry. That will add more friction to your ball joint. You know, obviously there's only so much you can do if it's ridiculously huge, but maybe it's stretched out or something like that. Or it's just close but not quite. That's something you can do in the opposite way. But if it's not big enough, you can take a ball joint thing like this and make it bigger. And so now, instead of having this lousy leg, however, I need to try and unjoint replacement these so I can salvage them. My GM 1.5 uses, or I'm sorry, not my GM 1.5, my GM D-type has the legs that I wanted him to have. The way I wanted them to be, and they work perfectly. Remember when you're drumeling, though, that you can always do more. It's like haircuts. You can always take more off, but you can't put much back. So, got my Dremel here. I've got a little drill bit piece, and I have a project that I need to do. I just need to. The Zaku 2 G-type is supposed to have an antenna on the right side of his backpack. So I need to drill a hole there. I could use a power drill, but you know, power drills, you gotta either special buy those really small drill bits or something, but like small little things like these work just as well, especially with this PVC plastic because it's very soft. And so I still like to have a starting point. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to remove the parts that are going to get in the way of my working on this. And I think here's a pretty good spot. You can see how soft the PVC plastic is. So I've just started a hole. It's not a big enough hole to do what I need to do, and this plastic is going to go back, you know, if I just leave it like that. Could make bullet holes that way. So remember, all's kind of handy. And now we're going to take the Dremel. And where I got my antenna was from a Riggsy. I used, well, I used the awl again. See, a lot of the parts in Gundam MSI action figures, they're just glued in. They're just glued in. And so, find him. This guy's spare parts. All I did was I got my awl in there and I pried, and I came from another direction and I pried, and I pried, and got this to come out. And so you could easily use a Gundam antenna, really, but I just wanted to go all out, even like that little extra antenna on there. So yeah, I want to make sure this is roughly the size that I want. It's too small. You see, it's too small, so I'm going to look for something that should fit a little bit better with what I'm doing. And I think this guy will do it. You may not be able to hear me while I do this, but hopefully you'll be able to see.
Don't hurt the camera lens.
I'm not going to hurt the camera lens. So I got a little hole there. It looks like the Zaku 2 backpack is hollow on the inside. Kind of forgot about that. Ta-da! So now we have our little antenna. That's just going to pop right in there. I don't think it's going to need any epoxy or anything. Maybe just a little epoxy to fill in that little gap there. A little gap, and even Super Macro can't show you. See, there's a little spot around here. No. Around here, I'll put in a little bit of epoxy putty, and that'll fill in that gap a little bit better. But yeah, that's what I did. That's all it took. It was really easy, really easy. I probably should have done it just a smidge slower, but it's hard because, you know, it moves so fast. But yeah, grab yourself either a power drill or a dremel. You know, power drills are pretty cheap. Dremels, a little bit cheap, but not, you know, it depends on the dremel. But of course, get yourself some of these. You can make your joints better. You can, on existing MSIA, you can make places to add parts. You know, you could make new neck pegs or neck holes, like in the Zaku 2. You could take your standard Zaku 2 and make him a real neck if you wanted to. So yeah, that's our tutorial on the Dremel and its uses. Very useful tool. I highly recommend it. So make sure to stay tuned for more Custom Gundam MSIA tutorials. Catch you guys later.